Welcome to the section about conflicting information. I felt it was vital to talk about different influencers, not by name, but just in a sort of abstract way, because you do get a lot of conflicting information. But I wanted to include this as well because I get many questions. For instance, someone will say, I've just watched a video and the influencer there says, OMAD is the only way to go. 1 meal a day, that's it, because it's so good. And then I'll watch somebody else who's doing 2 MAD and thinking that's great, or 2 meals a day, and then having a fast day, and then doing 2 meals a day. So there's many different ways to skin a cat. Terrible old expression, but that's apt actually, because there is many different ways that we can thrive on this way of eating. Now, this isn't exclusive to carnivore. I think you'd all agree that there's conflicting information about every way of eating, so it's not exclusive to us. One of the things I would say is the bottom line is how you react, how you do on a particular thing. Just because somebody else said high fat, for instance, is the way to go. If you do not thrive on high fat, it's not that you're doing it wrong. It's not that they're lying. It's because your physiology is different. So this week I've done a couple of success stories, which is easy for me to say. And one of the people there was very low fat, high protein, and the other one was very high fat, low protein, and one was very high protein, low fat. So great results for both of them, and completely different ways of eating and completely different meal frequency. Oh, so what was the difference? Well, they're different people and they have different goals, different activity levels. They live in different parts of the world. So there's different temperature, and one has a family life that's very different to the other one who's very much on their own and doing their own thing. So it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So don't feel you've seen a very convincing YouTube thing about how to do this and that's the way to go. Come to us with that information and maybe the link to what you've seen, and we'll have a look at it. And most things out there do have some validity. And this is the final thing I want to say. If you try something and it really works for you, that is true to you. That's absolutely true to you. And let's be absolutely frank, there are vegans out there who think that vegan is working for them, and they would flat out not think carnivore. So that's both ends of the scale. Well, that vegan that is saying that might at that time genuinely believe it and feel that they've never felt any better. And they can go out and do a video and possibly show a picture of when they was on the standard American diet and how great they looked. Whether that person will long-term feel the same is very doubtful, because most vegans, for instance, give up after 3 years. I think it's something like 84%, and 90% of those quote health difficulties. But that's not knocking their experience at that time. So they've gone out and that could be true to them at that moment. Same with carnivore. I would actually add a little bit of detail. I've yet to see anyone really fail on carnivore who stuck to carnivore and come out and said it hasn't worked for me. I haven't really seen that. But if I did see it, I would listen to their story and try and work out why that's happened. I mean, there is a couple of bigger influencers who have added more carbohydrates back in. But I think when they talk, for instance, they don't talk about those people that are triggered by the sweet taste or triggered by carbohydrates to eat more and more and more. Strangely enough, they seem to be eating more and more and more carbohydrates. So maybe they do know about it, but just want to justify it to themselves. So there's lots of different ways we can look at this. You will get conflicting information. So if you're eating a particular way and it's working for you, don't feel like, oh, well, I can't tell the coaches because they don't seem to agree with that, whatever that might be. Definitely come forward, because it just helps to build our knowledge. So for me, conflicting information maybe could be entitled emerging information, because we need to know what's going on out there and what's making people thrive and what's giving people problems. And only then, with an open and frank discussion, can we actually get to what is in the main going to work for you as a person, and also maybe offer it to other people.